So I feel that with poetry, I feel like poetry found me as opposed to it being something that I kind of seeked out intentionally. And so then when it found me, I kind of just leaned into it. I felt that it was a good thing for me. It helped improve me. It was more like a therapy. And then I realized that it was bigger than me and I could kind of, you know, connect with other people through writing and perhaps even improve their lives. So you can kind of inspire people, embrace people, and just share those common kind of human experiences through the written word, really. So.
Dwi'n meddwl bod fi wastad wedi sgwennu a wastad wedi mwynhau llyfrau. Nes i dyfu fyny fod mewn tŷ efo lot o lyfrau. O'n i wastad yn sgwennu ryw lyfrau bach a falle pan o'n i'n ogyn bach. A wedyn, nath neb ddeutha fi, dwi'n meddwl, rili, pan o'n i'n blentyn o, fysa chdi'n gallu gwneud hyn fel gwaith. Oedd hwnna'n sylweddoliad nath ddod yn hwyrach ymlaen, ond diolch rili i athrawon ydi o, ges i lot o lwc mewn cael athrawon da. A wedyn, symud ymlaen drwy hynny, a hefyd yr Eisteddfod a cystadlu, oedd hwnna'n rhan eitha pwysig o y ffordd nes i ddod at sgwennu fel gyrfa, ond di o ddim yr unig ffordd wrth gwrs, a dwi'n ffodus iawn erbyn hyn o fod yn gwneud fy mywoliaeth o sgwennu.
So I find inspiration everywhere, really. When you realise that that you can be inspired by everything, then you're not really too far from it. So I tend to stay open to ideas. I tend to listen closely to the world, to myself, and just pay attention to the smaller things of life, really. Because then it just opens you up to a kind of more spontaneity, and you never really know what's going to find you. What's going to come into your work. But I also listen to music. I like to watch certain documentaries, you know, films. You can be inspired by certain films. It really just depends what it is that you're writing about. And reading, you know, I don't think that you can get any better than reading books. Especially for me, I read poetry every day, and this helps me understand. Well, it helps improve me for a start, and it helps kind of widen my perception of what it means to be a poet and what it means to find yourself in this kind of creative space, this imaginative space. But it also helps me to remain authentic and say what it is that I want to say, and not kind of, you know, be tiptoeing on what someone else is already doing. I want to find my way in the poetry world, so that's what it's all about, really.
Swn i'n dweud na'n brif ysbrydoliaeth i fel sgwennwr ydy y pethau sydd yn gwneud ni'n pwy ydyn ni fel pobl. Dwi'n gwneud lot o ysbrydoliaeth o'n hanes ni, o ella ffigurau sydd heb gael eu cydnabod digon, felly dwi'n licio mynd a chwilota am bobl neu hanesion sy'n chydig bach yn obscure falle, a clymu hynna fewn wedyn efo pethau fel y dirwedd a chymuned a chymdeithas. Dwi'n meddwl bod lot o pethau ma'n rili cysylltu drwy gilydd, a dyna lle mae'r pethau difyr iawn i'w ffeindio ydy yn yr brithiaeth yna o bethau o gysylltiadau sydd i'w gwneud. Ond o ran yng ngwaith sgwennu dydd i hefyd, rhywbeth rili pwysig i fi ydy y pobl eraill sy'n sgwennu o gwmpas fi, a bod efo cymuned o sgwenwyr, pobl sydd ar yr un tonfedd â fi, pobl sydd o'r un meddylfryd â fi, a rwla lle dyn ni'n gallu cael gofod saff i rannu yn gwaith a rhannu'n gwaith sgwennu ni a cael adborth gan ein gilydd a just mwynhau mewn ffordd cymdeithasol hefyd. So dwi'n tynnu ysbrydoliaeth o sawl peth, ond mae gyd yn dod nôl at pobl swn i'n dweud.
So I received an annex of 100 people, Black heritage people who had contributed in some way to Welsh society and Welsh culture, but perhaps weren't kind of recognised for doing so. So I had to choose 6 people from there, and the people who I chose in the end, I think were people that I felt like that I could relate to, perhaps, you know, for example, a rugby player, a gardener, a singer, an actor. These people I felt like I could relate to. I had some sort of sense of connection to, I think, first and foremost. But then further than that, I wanted some sort of diversity in who I chose, from gender, from their timeline. I didn't want the timelines to overlap too much. Place in Wales, thinking geographically, tried to touch base with people who had a connection with South Wales, West Wales, North Wales, Central Wales. So there were so many different aspects that really kind of helped me decide who I wanted to celebrate and champion. But ultimately it was the people that I felt like drawn to, I felt some sort of connection to, and also I felt that I could do justice to the work in celebrating their life. You know, it had to feel authentic in the end.
So dwi'n edmygu gwaith Alex yn ofnadwy, so oedd y cyfle yna o gydweithio efo fo yn rhywbeth o'n i'n sicr yn awyddus i wneud. Dwi'n gyfarwydd efo fo fel perfformiwr, mae o'n rwy'n edmygu o ran hynny, ond hefyd jyst o ran ei grefft o fel sgwennwr. Ond hefyd mae potensial cyfieithu creadigol yn rili cyffroes i fi. Y syniad yma o gymryd yr syniad ar rhywbeth i'w ddarn o gelf mae rwy'n wedi gwneud a sut mae hwnna'n gweithio mewn iaith arall. Mae o'n ddifyrach bron na jyst cyfieithu air am air, because mae'n broses creadigol yn ei hun, yn gyfle i greu rhywbeth sort of o'r newydd mewn ffordd a rhaid y stamp ei hun efo tra'n trio cadw'n drewi llais y darn gwreiddiol. Ond hefyd jyst o'n i'n gweld yn brosiect cyffroes achos bod yn tynnu sylw at y bobl yma yn hanes Cymru sydd ddim wedi cael y sylw sydd yn ledu sydd nhw. Felly oedd teimlo bod fi'n medru bod yn rhan fach wedyn o dwyn y sylw nôl iddyn nhw, rhaid chydig bach o spotlight arnyn nhw yn rhywbeth o'n i ddim yn mynd i fethu'r cyfle i fod yn rhan ohono fo.
Okay, so there are many people that have gone unrecognised for their life work, for their craft, and that could be a contribution to their community, to society, perhaps even the world. So I'd like you to find, to research and celebrate their lives through your favoured written form, which could be poetry, it could be rap, it could be song, it could be a letter. You know, perhaps you could step in their shoes and reimagine what it was like to live in a certain place, a certain time, or contribute to their life and their work. So yes, I'd like you to think outside the box with this challenge. It's all about celebrating, it's all about championing this person who's done something extraordinary perhaps, and you want everybody to know. Your research will be integral to your creative output. Really think widely, so best of luck with it, and yes, enjoy it is the main thing.
Felly'r her ydy ymchwilio, dysgu mwy am fywyd rwy'n. A gallith hyn fod drwy unrhyw ffordd. Mae gennych chi'r we, mae gennych chi llyfrau, lle mae gennych chi cerddoriaeth, rhaglenni dogfen, ar y teledu, ffilmiau hwyrach. Ond hefyd y pethau na sydd gennych chi yn eich cymunedau unigryw chi, sef pobl alla sydd wedi nabod yr unigolion yma, neu o bosib gwybod rhywbeth amdano nhw sydd heb gael ei sgwennu lawr. Felly mae yna bob math o ffyrdd o wneud yr ymchwil yna a dod i ddysgu mwy am y bobl yma. A defnyddio'r ymchwil yna wedyn i feddwl am ddathlu. A sut da ni'n dathlu y bobl yma? Wel, ewch ati i sgwennu amdano nhw. Sgwennu cerdd os da chi isio, neu rap, neu gan, neu bod o'n rhywbeth rhyddiaeth, bod o'n stori fer, neu'n lythyr, neu'n erthigol. Rhywbeth sydd yn dathlu ac yn rhoi rhyw ola newydd ar fywyd y bobl yma. Meddyliwch am eu byd nhw, meddyliwch am y tir, meddyliwch am y cymuned y gwmpas nhw, pobl oedd yn nabod, y pethau oedd felly'n gwylltio nhw, y pethau oedd yn gwneud nhw'n hapus. A tynnu ar y pethau yma sy'n mynd i wneud i chi sgwennu rhywbeth sydd yn unigryw ac sydd yn dathlu bywyd yr unigolyn yma.